Hey, Sarah.
Hey, doll.
It's a podcast.
Not a cast pod. Oh, my God.
Every time I wait for that. Then what you think? It's Sarah and her crew.
Yes, crew. Oh, my God. You're all our little crewlings. Your little crewlings.
Yeah, we'll work it out. New name. I don't know if that's working.
Well, I don't know what to call everybody. Phrasiacs always makes our audience sound like they're nuts. You know, hey, are you a Phrasiac? I mean, that
I have a
sounds
suggestion.
like what?
Frasiaholics.
Frasiaholics? Should we call them the Frasiaholics?
Because we booze on the show.
But I want something that we can put on a T-shirt that, like, everybody is like, oh, cool, you're a part of, I don't know, isn't there somebody that we know, like, doesn't Joe Rogan have, like, his squad or...
Yeah, and, Lady Gaga with the Little Monsters.
Right, Little Monsters,
Yeah.
right. And so I feel like Phrasiacs just makes you seem like you're batshit nuts and you're ready to just go in and destroy a grocery store. It's just like, you're a Phrasiac!
I love Frasiaholics. Seriously. I think
Phrasiaholic.
it's super cute.
I'm a Phrasiaholic.
It's pretty on brand with what we do, too.
Okay.
Frasiaholics.
Frasiaholics.
Maybe we should call it that. That's Luis, by the way. We don't have a camera on him. He's mystery man. He's man of mystery.
I'm the man that works behind the scenes to make sure the ship is sailing right.
That's the God's honest. We need somebody to help with that. By the way, you probably know Luis because probably several weeks ago, a couple months ago now, he was going to go to his ex-fiance's wedding in Tennessee. She desperately wanted him to come. She's marrying another man, but she was like, messaging him incessantly. Are you coming? Are you coming? Do you have? So what did you end up doing, Luis? Did you go?
I'm not going.
Good for you.
I've decided not going.
Be a man.
She pissed me off. I'm not going.
I don't blame you. These
How'd she
women-
piss you off?
No, she just keeps texting me about it, asking if I've made up my mind yet. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going.
I don't blame you. It's too much pressure. It's weird that she wants you there.
You know how
Like
we
that
talked about
badly.
that day that we started like unfollowing people on social media? Well, I did. Except,
Yes.
I unfollowed her from Instagram, Snapchat, but not Facebook. I just hit the Facebook button unfriend yesterday.
Good.
That was
Block
it
her
for me.
ass.
Deuces.
Peace
You done
out.
with that? Look, we have so much to get to on today's show. I am very, very excited. Our guest today is so inspiring. Like, if you are having a tough day, if you're just feeling down, out, if life has been a struggle the past couple of months, this man's story and what he has done by sharing his story publicly has changed lives, and now he has a book. Rob Scheer, you may remember, a couple years ago, he went viral. There was a video, and he told his story of growing up in foster care. He was never adopted, turns 18, ages out of the system, went through horrific child abuse, and ends up getting this job and, slowly but surely kind of gets everything together. And he shares this. And as a child in foster care, he went from home to home and all his belongings were just in a garbage bag. And he started this organization called Comfort Cases, where they would make sure that every kid in the foster care system had a little suitcase, had a backpack with your toothbrush and, a blanket and just some comforting things if you're in the foster care system. I can't imagine what that must be like. His story went viral. He was on Ellen. His longtime husband, Reese, was on. They have 4 gorgeous kids, and he's here today. And the book is A Forever Family, Fostering Change One Child at a Time. So some amazing things have happened for Rob and Comfort Cases, the organization, since he was on this podcast last, including being involved with Derek Jeter. I mean, this is like his unbelievable. Also helping children at the border. And he just has some amazing advice if you ever went through some childhood trauma, even today as an adult, if life is a struggle, because it is for everybody.
It seriously is. And even though everybody's struggle looks different, his is, even to a more extreme case.
Yeah.
And I think it's absolutely incredible. I think everybody can learn from this experience. And I'm really excited to have him on today.
I know. And Rob has the best attitude.
Seriously.
He is never a woe is me person ever. It's like, yep, I went through this. This is what I've learned. And, now I'm on to amazing things. So he's really, really good. So we're going to talk about that. AJ, in the meantime, we have tons of listener emails. And normally we do listener emails on Mondays.
Yeah.
With Pineapple Mail. But this one was really interesting because I'd never heard the term. A woman wrote to us and she wants to know if we'd ever heard of what a gentleman slut is.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard do you know what a gentleman slut is?
Of course, I was Googling it like crazy. But before that, no idea. I mean, I could think of a couple things that it would mean from this, but
okay,
no idea.
We have to discuss that. The internet has lost their minds over a guy who proposed to a woman mid-marathon. What were you thinking? Could you imagine? I mean, can you imagine? You're running a marathon. What's that, 26 miles, 23?
I'm sweaty as hell.
Oh,
I have the ugliest. I'm in workout clothes. My hair is up in a ponytail. What kind of asshole proposes? And maybe like she's been preparing for this for so long, and you're gonna make this about you?
I know. Well, is he, or was this super romantic? And was this the push she needed to finish the marathon?
I can't wait for you to see the video because she literally looks at him like he's crazy, and then she's like, "Okay, I gotta go finish this marathon that I've been running. Yeah, bitch." I can't wait for you to see the video. Oh.
I can't wait to see it too.
Ow.
We also have some amazing news. Because of you guys, we sold out the VIP tickets like within 4 days to the Hey Frase podcast. It's the 3rd anniversary show. I know. Are you? And you're opening, by the way.
Oh Lord.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited. I've started writing, but and how long do I have to be up there?
You got to be up there like 5 minutes, but then you've got to, because it's basically the 3rd anniversary show with some of our biggest name guests, like some of the people who've been most popular. Paul Wharton, of course. So what I'm thinking is the show starts, you open, you do some great comedy, 5 to 8 minutes. Then you get us on stage. You welcome me, you welcome Paul, yourself, because that's sort of the recent crew.
Right.
We do a little, back and forth. Then you're going to exit the stage. Danny Starr is going to come on.
Yes.
Danny Starr is going to exit the stage. Then Sammy K, who is really the finale, comes out. And we have a special segment planned between Sammy and Paul Wharton.
Which we're so excited
because
about.
I can't figure out if Paul and Sammy like each other or if they really hate each other. And, Sammy K back on stage is amazing. Sammy, as you guys know, I'm in love with. He just became a new father to his little son, Dax. One of the funniest human beings ever. I always say he is like... He hates this when I say it. I'm like, you are the best late night host sidekick of all time. And he's like, I'm not a sidekick. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You're like my Ed McMahon. He's like, who even cares about Ed McMahon? I was like, well, I don't know. Back in the day, it was like a big deal.
You just demoted him to sidekick.
I know, he hates that so much. He's like, I'm not your sidekick. I quit. So this is the first time he's back on stage. It's going to be so epic. Eventbrite.com. Hey, Frase. We had 50 VIP tickets. They sold out in less than 4 days. I released 10 more. I begged AFI Theater in Silver Spring. They did. Those sold out within a half an hour. So your regular seating is awesome, though. And when you buy a ticket, you are entered to win a pair of diamond stud earrings from Mervis Diamond, our sponsors. Speaking of Mervis, we absolutely love them. They're sponsoring the live Hey Frase show at AFI November 29th. They also have a trunk show coming up, which is their holiday premiere and preview event this Friday and Saturday. You can go to mervisdiamond.com. I'm going to be at their Rockville location on Saturday from noon to 2. 40% off everything. They're having like a massive sale. You want to go to the trunk sales because you get exclusive engagement rings, bands. Come check them out. Even if you're not sure yet what you want to buy for your engagement ring, or maybe you just want a fabulous pair of diamond earrings because you just won some sort of U.S. Senate seat because it was like a women's wave last night.
Oh. Yeah, yesterday was a big day.
You voted.
I voted for the first time, and it was so embarrassing. And I even posted about it because I was very embarrassed about it.
Why were you embarrassed? I think that's awesome. You voted.
Well, with our intern, Christina, she came in, and she was like, by the way, it was my first time too. And I'm 24, she's 25, and it's an amazing time for us. She's nodding her head. It was because I don't know if we were like scared, but like when we were 18, we just didn't go. And we both have summer birthdays, so we didn't do it in high school. We already had graduated from high school. And it was like this, I don't know why we waited. To be honest, and I was living out of town, so I couldn't get an absentee. Anyways, it was a very big day. I was nervous. I walked in there. If you haven't registered to vote, don't fret. It's not a hard process at all. I walked right in. 5 minutes later, I was registered. 5 minutes later, I voted, and I was out of there.
Really?
Yeah. How was your experience?
Oh my God, it was great. We got up at like 5 a.m. because Dan had to be there. Yeah, he wanted to be there right when the polls opened in Arlington.
Grandma and Grandpa. Okay.
Oh, completely. So he made us our little coffee. We had them in our to-go mugs. We walked over to our polling place, and if you live in Arlington County, Virginia, it's completely blue. So like every Democrat, I don't even know why they put a Republican on. It's the worst thing ever. I guess they just want to humiliate them or whatever. Because like no Republican ever wins.
No. Oh Lord. Well, it's just one of those dominant states, dominant areas.
But it was so awesome. I mean, my home state is Maine. They have their first female governor ever. I was so excited. And just all across the country. First Muslim senator ever, I believe, or congresswoman, I think. So many great moments. So it was
Cortez,
youngest.
who is youngest. She was awesome. Hispanic.
Yeah, it was huge. Big for women. Forget the blue wave. It's hashtag women's wave.
Women.
I know, we're taking over, and I love it so much. It was so awesome to see all that. Anyway, but that's like all I know about politics. This show is really not about that. It's about pop culture.
Moving on.
About vaginas. We don't really get into politics. So anyway, it was pretty amazing. I did want to ask you your advice. You know, you are doing stand-up, and you're so people know you, AJ. Like, you're very sweet in real life.
Okay, great.
I
hope. If anything, I want people to say that I'm funny and nice. Like, that's like the only two things I really want to be known as.
Except for that ex-boyfriend of yours that's always like, threatening you that like you basically caused him to, take his own life. But mine is that.
It's not funny. It's not funny. That was a bad time. But yeah.
I shouldn't even joke. I'm not joking about that. I'm just saying that basically he was way off. Because you're
good.
You're amazing. You're so good to people.
Oh, good.
Well, I need your advice because yesterday I was out at Monique Samuel's house, from Real Housewives of Potomac.
Yes.
So she has a live podcast show that she's doing at AMP in Rockville on Thursday night.
Thursday night, right.
Which you can still get tickets to. It's an early show, too, I think, like 7 o'clock. So I'm hosting it, right? And she has like her whole panel of people and some of the Real Housewives, Karen Huger, Ashley Darby, like all of these people are going to come out, right? And Bravo is filming it. So yesterday we went to her house in Potomac, gorgeous, like everywhere I want to live. Mansion.
Stunning.
I mean, you go in through, her house is gorgeous. Yeah, you go in, the doors open to the garage and there's like the Bentley or
Are you serious?
Oh. I mean,
they offer you champagne or anything?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Good.
You walk into her house. She's like, I'm pregnant. I can't have any. Would you like champagne? I was like, absolutely. So I proceed to have some champagne,
I would too.
And they're saying, okay, how are we going to do this? Intro people, for as they come up, the housewives. So I was giving them some of my lines and they seemed to think they were really offensive.
Surprise, not on brand with Sarah at all.
Yeah, so it was terrible. Like Michael and Ashley Darby, right? And he had that whole thing where like a camera person alleged him of grabbing his butt or whatever.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have Michael and Ashley come out and basically say, all right, everybody, Michael, you've got to keep your hands to yourself as you're going. Like I was like doing things like that, and they did not.
Everybody else was dying though, right?
Yes.
Had to be.
But they nixed a lot of my lines.
They did? Who approves and denies what you can say?
Well, Monique, because it's her show. And like, I'm very
it.
curious. Candace on the show, she just got married to her husband.
Yes.
And he supposedly has a brown penis. I want to see this. Like, how many seasons of Real Housewives are we going to have to wait until we see this brown penis?
Okay, with your past experiences, I would keep off that line. Everything else is on point. I think I would stay away from those comments.
I mean, I can't win.
You can't win. Well, somebody's got to shit on you just to keep it equal,
That's what they said. I said, shit on me away.
Yeah.
If I dish it out, I can always take it.
Exactly.
You are welcome to say whatever you want to say about
You're
me.
really good at that.
Yes.
You really do take it back, too.
I know. Anyway, I seriously.
So you need my advice. Okay. What I say is don't include the brown penis. I don't think that will go over well, but everything else is hilarious. The Michael, that's hilarious.
Okay, thank you. I thought so, too.
I don't
want to make anyone
her
feel
drunk
uncomfortable.
driving. Talk about Monique Samuel's drunk driving, right? But she's pregnant.
I wanted to say that too, because last year on the Real Housewives of Potomac, there was this whole storyline, and Ashley was keeping tab on her drinks. So I was basically going to say when she comes out, it's a good thing she's pregnant because we all know that she would have been drinking and driving getting here.
You had to pick her up, actually. Oh my God, that's great.
That one not happening either.
Well, I think that's really funny. I think the point of the show is to be funny. People are there to be entertained.
See, but I forget that I don't think it is because her podcast is called Not for Lazy Moms. They do talk about everything, sex, marriage, after kids, like all that stuff. But I think in general, but I've heard it. Sometimes they're pretty unfiltered. So I thought
They are. I've heard
aren't
it.
we pushing the limits?
I don't know. I can't wait for you to share this. I think you're just going to go on stage. You're going to blow it all, and you're going to say it all. I can't wait.
I'm sure. By the way, S. Trujillo is saying, very funny, Sarah. Thank you. That's
Right?
one person who enjoys my joke. He's also a top fan on Facebook, so I don't know. That's kind of like bias. Victoria says, AJ, you are so sweet. I agree. Kevin says, oh, my God. I love Sarah's Michael Jackson jacket. Thank you.
You guys, this is the most killer jacket. And one, we love camo, but two, sequins. Put those two together. You guys can get it at $100 at Bloomingdale's.
Yes. Oh my God. Best 100 ever. And it's
Best
from
100.
Aqua.
Brand. Trying to get sponsored.
Yeah, that would be good, right? Speaking of sponsors, let's talk about a couple of sponsors. We're going to get Rob on. I also want to talk a couple of stories before we get Rob on here. Big thanks to today's sponsor, Talkspace, the online therapy company that lets you message a licensed therapist from anywhere at any time. All you need is a computer with internet connection or the Talkspace mobile app. That means you can improve your mental health even if you've had trouble making time for it in the past. Can't imagine fitting anything else into your life? Well, with Talkspace, Talkspace, therapy is as easy as sending your therapist a message. Get something off of your chest whenever you need to. Talk about everyday challenges at work or at home. Just chat about life. There are no extra commutes and no leaving the office, and of course, no judgments. The Talkspace platform has over 2,000 licensed therapists who are experienced in addressing life challenges we all face. To match with a perfect therapist for a fraction of the price of traditional therapy, go to Talkspace.com/Frase and you'd use my code Frase to get $45 off your first month and show your support to this show. It is Talkspace.com/Frase and use my code Frase. We also have to thank Mark Livingstone from Cornerstone First Financial. Now is the time to buy a home. Millennials are the fastest growing generation purchasing new homes, condos, buying and selling. It's the perfect time. And as interest rates rise, you want to get in on the home market now. You need to go to cornerstonefirst.com or you can head to heyfrase.com. You'll see Mark's face. Boop, hit on it. Mark is amazing. They have the best mortgage rates across the East Coast. We know this because I've been searching for a home and they always go, hey, do you have a mortgage person? I go, hey, I do. And they go, oh, well, we could like do this $10,000 mortgage. And I go, scam. I have the best mortgage guy, and he says you guys are full of crap. So there. It's cornerstonefirst.com. We love them. Okay, I want to hit a couple of stories, and then we will have Rob on here to talk about his brand new book and where you can buy it. So, AJ, tell me about this. I want to know what the gentleman slut is, because I'm fascinated by internet terminology.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, yeah, like we said, a listener wrote this in. And we were so intrigued. We're like, what is that? And I kind of, when I was going through it and reading it, I was like, I can relate to this on so many levels. Basically, it's somebody who has so much passion and they're always interested by somebody and they can't just give their love to one person. And it's not necessarily that they want to sleep around, but they almost felt inhibited by only dating one person. And we find this so interesting. I'm going to pull this up so you can pull a couple clips from it.
Okay, well, what I'm fascinated by this is anybody listening, and if you're on Facebook, have you ever dated the gentleman slut? And essentially the description is, I was great at monogamy. When I did monogamy, girlfriends loved me. Girlfriends' parents loved me. I may be a
grody slob.
A grody slob in lots of ways, but I'm also polite, considerate, well-mannered, and compassionate traits. I go from my wonderful parents and subsequently furthered in my own time. I'm a difficult person in a lot of ways, but thoroughly decent in others. And for the longest time, that decency is why I stayed monogamous. It always felt indecent to me that I was attracted to women I wasn't dating. It felt gross, even that I wanted to form emotional connections with non-girlfriend girls. Okay, this guy just sounds like he's a male slut. How are you a gentleman?
No, because he would still want to meet the women and take them on dates. And but he felt bad. Like, I'm attracted to guys all the time. But of course, I don't tell him that because that would technically be flirtatious or cheating to the person you're staying monogamous to.
I know. When we read this, we said to ourselves, this seems like us in the male form. We're the lady sluts. He goes on to say, I've always loved being the guy that you can come to with your insecurities, your life stories, your general worries and confessions. I feel like that's me. And then I'm complete lady whore. Like, what do you... And so this guy is essentially... Women are having this conversation online. Oh, do you date this guy? And that means he'll never settle down, but he seems like he has a lot of these great traits.
Exactly. Like, he's so gentlemanly and you want to tie him down. You want to marry him, but he has too much love. And to me, this is almost just like this guy's bullshit and he just wants an excuse to go out and sleep with a bunch of women.
I was going to say that. Do you think this is bullshit? Like, can you actually be a gentleman slut?
It's a very... Is anybody else... Let me know if people are commenting because this is so interesting to me because I think that I could see myself, at least right now, and he said he was 26 when he told the first woman that he found her beautiful, but he just wasn't ready to settle down with her. And like, he's able to connect with so many different people on so many different passionate levels, and he doesn't say that he has to sleep with all them. He just wants to kind of meet them and have all these really cool relationships with them. Like, if you meet somebody at a coffee shop, can he say, hi, I find you really interesting and beautiful? And then that time has passed.
I don't know. This is a really fascinating term to me because I'm trying to think of anyone that I've met that's like this. I've dated a lot of gentlemen.
One of your friends we call him Prince Charming, who like can't find somebody. He's a serial dater.
Oh, you know what? He does. He looks like a Disney prince.
Yes, he really does, guys.
Yes. He is a gentleman slut.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I got to send this to him.
It's probably him. It's probably him writing this article.
He is like the perfect gentleman slut. And we always he always meets up for coffee. Like
exactly.
Yes, he always meets me for coffee. I mean, he knows I'm with Dan, but I'm sure that probably wouldn't stop him. Like I use my restraints. I say, excuse me, Disney Prince. I don't even know a Disney Prince. What were their names?
Jacques.
Okay, excuse me, Jacques. He kind of looks like a Jacques. I'm not even going to lie. Jacques. Don't be gentleman slutting me. And he does this with all these women. He takes them out to dinner. And
they fall in love.
He's the sweetest. They fall in love. And then he always gives them the line that he's not ready to settle down. And now he got a dog.
Oh, he is like ultimate bachelor number one. I mean, seriously, he got a dog now?
Yeah, he
So
has
now,
this he has this dog, and it's being like professionally trained as like, a hunting dog and all this stuff.
And I'm sure he brought all over like the women over when the baby was a puppy.
And he's totally hot. He has a great apartment, and then he has this fabulous art collection, and then these like exotic plants that he grows.
All right, moving on. I don't want to talk about this guy anymore.
Well, you're over that. All right, let's talk about the guy in New York City who proposed to his girlfriend at the 16-mile mark, New York City Marathon. She's out there. Have you ever done a marathon, by the way, or triathlon?
I've entered, I've prepared, never went.
Really?
I got to like 10 miles a day, and my body was like, nah. So I'm still trying to do one. I want to compete in one. Not really compete, but I would love to run a marathon. I got to start with a half, so 13 miler.
Nothing seems worse to me. I did the nation's triathlon once. It was the worst fucking day of my life. Do you want to know something? When you're done a marathon, your body is so taxed, you can't even go to the bathroom. Like there's so much pressure on your bladder, but all of your resources are gone. Your bladder just aches, nothing comes out, and you're the hungriest motherfucker you've ever been in your life. You feel way high without any of the weed. You cannot consume enough because you've blown so many calories.
How do you know this?
Because, I don't know what it's like to be high. Okay. Let's be honest. But I know what it's like to do the triathlon, which was...
You did a triathlon?
Yeah, it was...
Good for you.
No, it was awful. And I hated myself. I thought to myself, why did I goddamn get... And I literally, when I got done, I rode the bike off into a ditch. I did. I rolled off the bike and I...
Glad we're done with this.
I said, that's it. I hate you so much. Biking 25 miles.
Yeah.
Jogging 6, 1 mile swim. Do you know how it was? I can't even tell you how bad it was. I was
like, God.
Do you know how many miles prepare? 25 miles is on a bike?
Yeah, but it does go way faster than you think.
No, it doesn't.
Imagine running 25 miles.
No, I can't.
Okay. Well, my friends, they all did the New York Marathon, which is what the story is from. And they all went to go get drinks afterwards. They all got wasted. They were having like chugging Bud Lights and everything. All my college friends. I was like, I got to get out there, guys.
I went to a kebab shop after I ordered like 18 different shawarma things. And I just sat there...
Chicken shawarma.
And I stuffed it in my mouth, and I was so upset. I go, why did I do that? And then you can't walk for like 2 days. I would be so pissed. So New York City Marathon, she's at the 16-mile mark. He pops out of the crowd. He has an engagement ring, and he gets down on one knee while she's jogging and asks her to marry him. And the internet is completely divided on if this was romantic or awful.
Yeah, I would be so pissed my own self because... Hold on, I want to pull up the video for you guys.
This would be awesome for me. If Dan did this, would be amazing because I would walk off the marathon right then. I'd be like, babe, thank you so much. You saved me the rest of the 10 miles that I didn't really want to do because let's go celebrate.
Yeah, she was at mile 16 and this guy just pops out from the side of the,
Oh my God, here she is. Here it is.
She's like, you bitch. Like, I'm in the middle of my run. She hugs him.
She's crying. She's kind of crying, or maybe she's in pain.
So at first I was like on board with this. I was like, oh, this is so sweet. But listen to what her response is. Like, am I going to finish this race? Because you bitch, you just proposed to me.
What? She literally
leaves him.
I guess I'm going to finish.
Yep,
okay.
Bye. Gives another guy a kiss. And then continues to run. Doesn't even look back at her bitch ass fiance because he just proposed.
I don't even know what to say about that.
I say, and look, let's go through some tweets of people because I find this so funny. OMG, I'm steaming about the guy who proposed to his girlfriend at mile 16 of her first NYC marathon. What the actual F? What a shitty ass thing to do. She worked hard to that shit and he made it about him. Growls. She said yes. A woman who was running in Sunday's marathon when her longtime boyfriend hopped over the barrier and dropped to one knee. She ended the day with a medal around her neck and a ring in her finger.
Oh my God, I love this.
My girlfriend is running a marathon. How can I make this about me?
I mean, I gotta tell you.
You know what? I'm gonna defend him.
What?
Well, of course, you're a guy.
Well, here's the thing. Who won? Let's be honest about the situation for a second. Who won this whole thing? Who won?
I don't even know.
She went viral and is all over the internet. Do you think she's really upset?
Do you think she wanted to be viral looking like she just ran a marathon? Because she
did.
was in a marathon.
She looked pretty happy to me.
She did. She honestly, and she slapped that ring right on. She was like, should I finish? Should I finish? Okay. And then she jogged right off.
Exactly. I feel like if some woman was really in love and really about this, she'd be like, you know what? F this race. I'm so happy that I'm proposed to.
I would have done anything for anyone to stop me on that triathlon bike.
I would have punched him in the face, through the ring,
would
over
not.
the barrier so we would go catch it, and then I would continue running.
I love it. So, oh God, I got to find the comment. I think it was from Keith. He just wrote, did Fat Sarah do the triathlon? Yes, she did. I did. I spilt all over that bike. I was just like...
Were you having bladder issues? Did you pee a little bit? I would be peeing everywhere. You know how my bladder is.
And you know when you do a triathlon on these cycling bikes, you have to learn how to change your own tire because like you can blow out a tire and then people...
You did that?
Yeah. People so desperately want to continue that they then patch the tires with bubble gum and tape and various things that they find.
You're lying.
No, I'm dead serious. And then they pump back up the tire, they hop back on the bike and finish. I said to the guy... absolutely not. If I blow a tire, then I'm going to wait until someone picks me up on, what is it, Glen Echo Drive or whatever.
Yes.
I was like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I'm proud of you for doing that,
Who
though.
cares that much that they're going to find bubble gum? He's like, oh, I've patched my
used it
tire
all.
with pine needles and like sap. And I'm like, who the fuck? Like,
Are we on Survivor?
Yes.
Like, what? That's a bit much. That's a bit much. That's a bit far.
I can't stand competitions at all. Like that, like the running stuff. I mean, like if you want to do tennis doubles.
I would be just happy and proud to finish the race.
I wasn't. No, I was kicking myself. I thought I lost an entire Sunday to this. I don't know.
What
I
do you
really
like to
hate.
do? What do you
really
fill your
hate-
Sundays with? Sitting on the couch with Dano eating takeout?
Oh, that's a really good question. My ideal Sunday. Look, I never do this, but I like a spiritual fix, a small like physical fix, and then I enjoy watching the Patriots win a football game.
I've never even seen you go to a sports bar.
Of course not. I like to watch at home. Like if my ideal day would start with yoga, and then I would go to like a church, gathering, and then I would watch football. Like that would be my dream.
All right, I got news for you. Move to Middle America. I feel like they do it out there. I feel like they do church service, and then it's all about football.
But they don't
the
do
South.
the yoga.
Well, that'll be your little flair of Sarah Fraser.
All right, look,
Never
let's
seen
get
her watch
Rob
a
on
football
here.
game.
Really?
Never.
I love the Patriots so much. I cheating Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I like adore them. I think they're so amazing. The greatest football team ever. Okay, Rob Scheer is here. He just wrote a book, A Forever Family, Fostering Change One Child at a Time. You have probably seen him on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, the Today Show. He went viral for sharing his amazing story, and he has been on the Hey Frase podcast. In fact, we did a 3-part series with him because he has such a fabulous story, and now he's here to celebrate his book. Woo! Hello, yes! Pop that champagne, Rob.
Yes,
Because
let's do it.
not only did you write a book, but there's an endorsement here from Jeter Publishing.
Incredible.
Speaking of fabulous sports, wait, AJ, does anyone here know how to open a champagne bottle for real? Yeah, she should.
Okay. Hey, if you do, you open it.
No, actually, my husband would be really impressed if I did that because I wouldn't.
You handed, you're like, this is
I
for
can
you.
pop a good beer, but I don't.
Don't know how to do champagne.
But I had to bring the champagne because this is such a great time and to be back here with you guys.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny. I said to Reese this morning, I said, I have to take a bottle of champagne. He's like, you're getting ready to leave for an airport as well. I was like, that's okay. I was like, do you realize who I'm going to see? So excited.
Well, we love you, and your story is so inspiring for those people who may be just discovering you. How many years ago was it that you did, and was it original? Who was it that captured your story, put it out, and it was seen by like 60 million people?
So, don't want to correct you, but it was 130 million.
Thank you. Please correct me, because it's amazing.
130
Don't mean to
million.
correct you, but double
I deserved
that.
every fucking one of those clicks. So I just want you to know. So I'm going to say
you
130 million. So it was a little over 2 years ago. There was a girl by the name of Jess Blank. She worked for Upworthy. And
Upworthy.
And she heard my story. I'd given a speech somewhere, and she reached out to me and she said, I'd like to come to your farm and film you. And I said, for what? And she says, I think you have a story to tell. And she's like, have you ever heard of Upworthy? And I said, yes. Lie.
I have. Huge fan of your videos.
I had no clue what the hell Upworthy was. I had to Google it afterwards. And I was like, oh my God, this is real shit. And I was like, and again, we had done, I think we had done the Today Show by then, but Kathy and Hoda didn't give me the love like I was expecting. So I really felt like I was in that hole. And then she showed up and I forgot she was coming.
Really?
So Reese was on a trampoline and we weren't doing the wild thing or anything. He was on a trampoline with the kids and actually broke.
That's good. That would have been a different Upworthy story.
That totally would have been a different. And that book probably would have even sold more copies.
Yeah.
And he broke his ankle. And
oh my
he
God.
had to have surgery. And so I had totally forgot to put it on the calendar. So he actually had gotten home that morning from having the pins taken out of his ankle.
Oh my God. And you're
all
like, oh
doped
shit.
up on Percocets. And the doorbell rings, and I was like, who the fuck is doing this? I'm trying to get 4 kids together. My husband's all doped up on Percocets. I open the door, and there's this cute little girl. And I say little girl. She was in her 20s. She was adorable with her backpack and her camera. And she
Wow.
says, hey, Rob, I'm Jess from Upworthy.
And you're like, oh, whoops.
And you're like, oh, crap.
Oh, crap.
Real, Rob, because that video.
So first of all, we've got a toast.
Toast to Rob Scheer and all of your success and just the hundreds and thousands of people that you have affected and helped and changed their lives. And
that's not bad.
The kind of abbreviated story of your story that went viral on Upworthy was that you grew up in the foster care system. Right.
I grew up in the, I think it all starts with, how I grew up with my biological family, being the youngest of 10 kids, a mother who had been married 6 times.
Yes.
We lived in and out of every shelter in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. A father who, my mother knew that he was raping us and she did nothing. She would literally hand me, and there's a whole chapter in the book about, and there are times, by the way, I still can smell that smoky breath of his. Right. And she would hand me to him, and then she would shut the bathroom door, knowing what was happening. And she would say, if you don't cry, it probably won't last as long. Don't cry. So here she knew, and
I know that is like, as a mother, I know to know that your child is being sexually abused by her husband.
And her son, I'm her baby, and the fact that even my sisters had to deal with it, and she knew. And I think there was a time that she was so beat down, she just couldn't take it anymore. I there's a literally would go click with the gun to each of us and would look at my mother and say, who are we going to shoot first? And then they would laugh and smoke on their joint or pop another pill or drink another drink. And so that was normalcy for me, by the way. That was total normalcy. It was normalcy for me to be covered in bruises. And, there's a whole chapter in the book where my mother finally left my father. And after many times, by the way. And by the way, one time she left him, she left us, and we didn't see her for months and months and months, and we were getting ready to go to an orphanage, and my father used to have sex with the neighbor woman, and he would make us watch, and mind you, I'm 5 years old, 6 years old, so she came back and picked us up. And she found a job working at a Catholic hospital, but she had to lie that she didn't have kids. Oh my God, it was like that, Children in the Attic moment.
Yeah.
You know that book?
Yeah.
Fucking life, I'm telling you right now. She had to hide us, and she hid us at this woman's house. And my 2 sisters and I at that point, everybody else was living with dads or in jail or, but it was my 2 sisters and I. And the woman would beat me so bad. And the reason she would beat me is because I would always say, I need to put on my panties. Because mind you, I was a house full of women, and no one ever said to me, hey, you wear underwear. I should have known I was gay then when I was saying I was going to put on panties. But it hadn't clicked at that moment. But I kept saying that. And so finally she beat me. And I'm talking beat me so bad that it was in the summer. And my uncle, which, by the way, I thought he was an uncle, come to find out he was husband never, who knows many my mother had. And he came to get me, and I was covered in my clothes from neck to. And I get to my aunt's house and where my mother was living, and my mother said, why is he dressed like that? And my sister said, take him into the bedroom and take his clothes off. And my mother said, no, he can take his clothes off right here. And my sister, she's now passed away. She was like a mother to me. She said, no, Mom, take him in the room and take his clothes off. And so her and my aunt went in there with my sister, and they took my clothes off. And my mother looked at me, and she said, what the fuck am I going to do now? I have to go to work. I can't take him back to Carol.
Wow.
It wasn't like, here I'm literally
been so abused.
Abused.
And her thought was, wow.
And her thought was, I just screwed up her life even more.
Did you ever, I feel like when you were on this show, have you ever figured out, did your mother have schizophrenia? Did she suffer from mental illness? What did you...
So, I think my mother suffered from everything. I think, I'm not going to ever make an excuse for my mother. I'm not going to say, I used to say this. I think I actually mentioned this to you last time, or I did in my book, that she was a product of her environment, No, she wasn't. She was a product of fucking bad choices. That is what we all are. We're a product of choices, and I get so tired of people holding that crutch and saying, oh, poor me, I had a rough life. Oh, I grew up in, the Carolinas and worked in a cotton mill and, had abusive husbands. No, you kept doing that.
Yeah.
You kept doing that. And so, I don't know what she had. I just know she was a pretty bad mom.
Yeah, she was a terrible mother.
She was a terrible mother. But guess what? I love her. I love her.
That's amazing.
I will never forget going to her grave and telling her that I forgive her.
Really?
That's incredible.
That I forgive her. And I love her because you know what? I had to do that. Not
I know.
For her.
For you. It's for you.
It was for me.
And,
It was for me.
It's for you because you carry that anger. She doesn't.
Oh,
Who knows if she ever even really acknowledged what you all went through, you know? I mean, but that's for you.
We never talked about it.
At what age did you enter the foster care system?
So this is what happens. Crazy it can be. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, foster care is so different than it is today.
Yeah.
So I was living with my mom and my then, I think he was husband 6 or 7. He wasn't my father. And my mother died. And I'll never forget it. I was watching TV with my sister, and my father comes downstairs. We had to call him Dad. And he came downstairs and he said, oh, by the way, your mother died today. Have you guys had dinner yet? And that's how I found out my mother died. And he literally went back upstairs, and we just basically, it's like she was dead. And he hated us. And my sister ran away, and I was left there. And then he tried to find my father, and he found out my father had died. And so he was like, I don't fucking want you. I don't want you living here. I don't want you. And so I took a school bus to an old neighbor, and I rang her doorbell, and I said, I don't have anywhere to go.
And how old were you at this time?
I was 12.
12.
And I said, I have nowhere to live. I have nowhere to go. And so she took me in. Her and her husband took me in. And, it was crazy back then. Now that I think about it, could you imagine some strange 12-year-old coming to your door and saying, I don't have anywhere to live? Okay, come and live here.
Right.
And nobody fucking asked a question about it.
I know. Right.
Nobody.
Never. Right.
I mean, she goes to school. She rolls me into school. She starts getting at that point, they were giving Social Security checks that she was getting each month.
But they kind of had known they knew what was happening to some extent in your house.
But nobody asked.
No one ever followed up.
No one ever followed up. And then I turned 18. By the way, I had a birthday a couple weeks ago, and it was such a flashback for me because it was a couple weeks after my 18th birthday. I was a senior in high school, and I became homeless. My foster father threw me out. By the way, I love my foster mom. Love her. Haven't spoke to her in a year.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and she hasn't spoke to me.
Now, what's happening? Is that because
of the book?
Of the book? That's because of all the... Yeah, because you guys are, you and your family now are very much in the public eye. Yeah. We talked about after that video came out, you were on Ellen. You basically had done every major news outlet, correct?
We've done almost every one, and still a couple more that's left to do, but yeah.
And why is she upset with you? Because...
She just felt like I shouldn't have told my story.
Really?
Yeah. And the thing is, at the end of the day, and I can't wait for you to read the book because I praise her in this book. She was an amazing, and is an amazing woman. again, she's now made choices not to have a relationship with me, to not have a relationship with my children.
Yeah, right. Her grandkids.
I mean, that to
Right.
me, it'll be next week, it'll be 1 year since my kids have spoken to their Nana. And at first they were hurt, and now they're angry. Now they're like, this doesn't make any sense. If Nana wants to be mad at you, then let her be mad at you. But she really didn't love us if she just can say, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's what I've learned through this journey, is that if you truly love someone, and I mean truly love someone unconditionally, no matter what choices they make,
Right.
you're going to love them. You're going to be honest and say to them, you know what, you fucked up there.
Right.
You know, excuse my language. Sorry.
No, please. Please.
But you're gonna sit
say it
there
all.
and you're gonna sit there and say, I don't like the way you handled this. I don't like the way you portrayed this. I don't like the way that you. But guess what? I love you.
Right.
You're my family, and that's what I always felt with her until now. And now, I will always love her. I can never forget, but I do forgive her. But I don't think, and my husband says for me never to say never, but, you know, he's such a goody-goody two-shoes. You wait, you guys meet him.
No, we have to be
I don't
erased.
think he's ever said the F word.
Oh, my God.
But, you know, but he says all the time, if your mom comes into the picture and wants to see the kids, you know, we're going to let them. But yeah, it's been a hard road.
I mean, so after you turn 18, when you were on this podcast, you know, you shared, you were homeless, you lived in bathrooms and worked at restaurants, and some of the restaurant owners occasionally would let you stay there. Yep. Slowly, but you know, you dealt with addiction, and then you end up getting this job in the banking business,
in the
right?
mortgage industry.
In the
Can you believe it? I lied about my resume.
I absolutely love
We all
this.
do.
Yes. Oh my.
Surprise.
Lied.
A new fake it till you make
Yeah,
it.
I
Really?
so faked it. You know what? You had a podcast not long ago, and you were talking about that whole fake it to make it
Yes.
thing. I did that. Oh my gosh, I did that. And by the way, I have no education whatsoever. I have a high school diploma that I barely made it through high school, and so I can't tell you the difference between there, and there. People always on Facebook are like, "Could you change your there to the right one?" And I'm like, "Do you really give a rat's ass? You know what the word I'm
It's like the
talking
most minor,
about?"
exactly.
I mean, it's like, yeah, okay, I didn't put that period to where a period should be, and yes, that's a run-on sentence, even though I have no idea what the hell a run-on sentence is. But they tell me that I have one. So, hey, but by the way, I wrote a book
Exactly.
with my help from my friend John. But anyway, so I faked it. I faked that resume.
I love that story. Rob
Went to the public library and
Yeah.
typed it on a manual typewriter. Do you even know what a manual typewriter is?
Well, I probably played with it twice in my grandma's
I
room.
knew it. You're so young. Yes, a manual typewriter. And I typed a resume, you know. And,
That's incredible.
And I lied on the resume. And by the way, I was a good typist. I was a really good typist. And I had taken typing in high school and loved it. And I was good at filing. Again, I knew I was gay, you know.
All the things.
I just
them are
kept
adding up,
checking
yeah.
them off the list. I'm thinking about it. Panties, typing, you know. I just so knew. And so I did. I took this job, and I worked my ass off. And when the boss would say, come in at 8 a.m., I would get there at 7. And when he'd say to stay till 6, I stayed till 9. It was like, because I didn't have that diploma on the wall.
Right.
But by the way, on my resume, I had said I did. I said I had a
Well,
diploma.
that's my favorite part of your story, because at some point you go back to your boss to
do.
confess
I do.
that you did not have the college degree and whatever else that you had put on your
did.
resume.
Yep.
And how did your boss respond?
I will never forget that.
I love
mean,
the
I thought,
response.
first of all, for the first time I had an apartment. Up until then, I was either living in shelters or I was living in pay-by-the-week hotels. And I had a little hot pot that, you know, where you plug in, and that's how I would eat. And I was once making money where I could, you know, have an apartment, but I knew I was going to have to give it all up. And I went into his office and I handed him my letter of resignation. And he said, what
And
is
is this because you
this?
felt guilty?
I felt so much guilt.
Wow.
God,
You don't think you
felt-
deserved where you made it?
No, I felt so much guilt. And I went in and I was like, hey, you know, I got to resign. I can't do this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, I lied. He said, what do you mean you lied? I said, a lie about my resume. I said, it's all a lie. I said, everything on it's a lie. I didn't go to college. I didn't have that job that I told you about. I said, I did go in the Navy, but by the way, I was only in the Navy for a short period of time.
Yes, that's right.
Because I had, and then I became homeless again. And so, and he looked at me and he literally ripped my letter of resignation up. And he said, you're the most honest person I've ever met, the hardest worker I've ever hired. Get back to work. Let's just go forward.
That is amazing.
So I have to tell you, though, and something I haven't shared this, I still used that resume for many, many years afterwards.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I now don't. I have changed it.
Well, you've written a book.
I fucking told everybody.
Now everyone knows, Rob Scheer's resume? Okay. Wait, let's do it live. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's actually all true.
It is.
Author,
I worked my ass off to...
Viral sensation, inspiring person.
Yeah,
oh, my God.
yes.
Founder of Comfort Cases.
Up until my early 30s, I used that resume, because I fucking needed a job.
Yeah.
And I knew that people cared about that piece of paper, which, by the way, is so stupid.
I know.
I've interviewed thousands of people. I never say to them, hey, what's your GPA?
Right.
Hey, can you show me your diploma? I don't give a shit. I care that you have life experience.
Yeah.
Life experience is what really makes us good humans.
I love the turning point for you, which you met your husband, Reese. Were you in your 30s at that point?
I was. Reese and I are getting ready to celebrate 14 years. And
14 years with your husband.
Congratulations.
She's so amazing.
Because I want, really this show, I always want people to hear and take things away and just try to create a show sometimes that makes you think differently about yourself, sometimes about other people. So I really want some of your advice, which I don't think we kind of got to when you came and we did an in-depth interview, because it was more about the details of your story, which people can go back and listen to. It's still up, heyfrase.com on iTunes, and you can just search Rob Scheer. The 3-part series is there. But you credit meeting Reese and a conversation that you two had, because I always am fascinated with you. Like, how did you get to the point to say this out loud? Because for a man to admit that they were sexually assaulted by their own father for years. I mean, people struggle with that so much. And we know now, how rampant sexual abuse is of kids. And it is so hard for not just men, but for women to say it out loud. Right. And then to say it like to 140 million people, I mean.
Yeah. You know what? I will tell you, Reese is my rock, and he was the one. For the first time in my life, I felt such unconditional love from him. That it didn't matter to him that I was a homeless kid, that I suffer from mental illness. I think most people, and again, something I'm going to say here, and people are going to be like, oh my God, what next? 2 years ago, the viral video had come out. I had met with you. Life was great. I had an amazing job, and I'd gotten a huge job offer, and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm being offered this kind of a job. And I took the job, and the job ended up falling through, like really bad. And I ended up going into a really deep depression, like to the point that I couldn't get out of bed. And this was only 2 years ago. And Reese called the doctor and said, we've got to do something. He's, I'm really worried about him. My kids were worried about me. But again, it just shows you there was Reese to pick me up. I think that each and every one of us
have a great marriage.
We just have a great partnership. And I think that each and every one of us fall into a well at times. We have all fallen into the well, whether you want to admit it or not.
Sure.
I just happen to write about it. I talk about it. I admit that I have fallen into this well. The problem is that you have to look for the person who's throwing you the rope. You have to look for the person who's throwing you the rope. And the rope is there. You just have to take it. I talk to kids who are in care all the time who, you look at the statistics, 30,000 will age out this year, 70% will become homeless.
Wow.
But guess what? There's a rope there. It's a rope. You got to grab it. It's not going to be easy. Hell no, it's not. Life isn't fucking easy.
Right, it's not. It's not fucking easy when you have the best of circumstances.
Even Kim Kardashian, her life ain't all fucking easy, even though she spends 30-some millions on G-strings. Life is rough, okay? It just may be a little easier for her because she has some money. But other than that, life is rough.
Yeah.
And you have to just suck it up. I get so tired of people saying, oh, my poor life. Oh, I deserve this. Oh, God is doing this to me. No.
But you, of all people, have the right to say that. What do you say?
No right to say that.
Well, no, but I guess if you're, from an outsider hearing your story, you hear that and you think, oh my God, if there's one person that has the right to say, oh, my life has been tough, why would God do this to me? It's you. But yet you are the opposite. And in fact, you get a lot of shit sometimes from people who want you to be more of a victim in a sense.
Yes. And by the way, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim.
But how do you get to that mindset? And what do you tell people? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who have been through child trauma, who've been through something very, very difficult in their lives, and probably have that attitude a lot of, why is this happening to me? Why do I get the short end of the stick? So how do you...
So the first thing I think everybody needs to do is they have to take responsibility. Take responsibility, and I know that's hard to hear.
Wow.
Take responsibility for their actions, okay? You forgive, you don't forget, and you move forward. Every single time that you can't move forward, then that's your responsibility. That's you give them the power by not.
And that's for
moving
everything.
On. And that's
a boss who's wronged you, coworker that threw you under the bus, parent that was physically abusive or an alcoholic, and wow.
Everything. Let me tell you, I didn't get to where I'm at today with 4 amazing kids, an amazing husband, writing a book, working on a movie. I didn't get to there today because I said, oh, poor me. Oh, look at me. I got there today because I said, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm not going to allow this to happen. I'm going to take control. I'm going to take control. Complain about the system, then help me change the system. I am sick and tired of people saying the system shattered me. The system broke me. No, you allowed it to.
And I guess you kind of answered this, but my thought too is like somebody that's listening who feels that they had some sort of childhood trauma or had an adult trauma. Where do you start? I mean, is it therapy? Is it, like you said, looking for that lifeline? I mean, how do you...
First of all, I love therapy. Therapy
I know, me too.
Oh my God, I love therapy.
That's what I want to end up doing, is lobbying for free therapy for everybody. Because it's life-changing. I don't care what your home life is. Parents do the best they can with what they have, and that's if life is somewhat not rocky for you. But if it's rocky, parent dies, parent's an alcoholic, a drug, it's like so chaotic.
First of all, I think the biggest issue that I see people do is they don't admit it to themselves first.
Ooh. Wow.
They don't.
Yeah, and that's tough to be honest with who you are.
You got to be honest with yourself.
That's rough.
You've got to sit there and look in the mirror and say, let me tell you. So take it from a gay guy, because I used to think for years that I was gay because my father molested me, that I was gay because I was raped by the neighbor boy, that I was gay because my cousins used to screw me. I was gay because the boy in the bathroom touched me. That made me gay. And I had to come to the realization that none of that had anything to do with me being gay. Those are wrong people who did wrong things. But you have to first accept it to yourself. And then you have to say it.
Yeah, you've got to say it. That's really hard.
You have to say it. I hear people all the time, well, I've dealt with it. But have you said it? Have you said it?
Have you said it? Have you owned it? And that's the thing, like I always, on a different scale, but with my weight issues that I always post about, and, how I finally got mindful eating therapy and then unpacked all my emotional eating. But for years, I was so ashamed of, like, I always felt like a fraud. I was like, I'm never going to be able to find a man who will love me, because once he finds out that I was almost 200 pounds, he's going to think I'm going to go back to that. And I'm not authentic. I'm not real. And like the scariest thing for me ever would be to put myself out there in a bikini, not having a perfect body.
Which, by the way, I saw you in a bikini. You look really hot. Take it from the gay guy, okay?
But when I finally, that's what I worked through for therapy, because when I walked in, I'll never forget, Robin was like, oh, you can trust yourself with food and you'll be able to share your story. Like, I guarantee you'll be able to be in a bikini in front of people. I was like, there's no way. Because I never had been truthful really with who I was as far as body image, and that, it was okay that I didn't look like what I thought I had to look like in a magazine.
And the one thing is that people have to also accept their responsibility of getting help. Okay?
Yes, yes.
No one's going to walk up to your door and say, "Oh, here's a therapist for you." And you got to do the work.
You got to.
I mean, I get so angry when I hear people say, "Well, I don't have any money, so I can't do that." Well, yes, you can. I don't have this, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Let me tell you, I live in Montgomery County, Maryland. There are so many free opportunities for healthcare, for therapy. It's out there. It's out there. You have to do the work. There's no magic pill that you're going to take and it's going to be all better and therapist's going to knock on your door. How you doing? No, you got to do the work. Get up, brush it off, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and do the work.
What is your next step? I heard a little thing about movie.
Yes,
Does this mean Rob Scheer is getting a movie?
So you know what? I think we are. I think we are. I think, yes. I do know that my agent is, we're working on that direction. First we wanted to get the book launched and to have the book launched by Simon and Schuster and Derek Jeter and Jeter Publishing. I mean, that alone,
huge.
It's huge. I'm getting ready to jump on a plane and I'm flying to LA to be on the Hallmark Channel to do the Hearts and Homes show.
Oh my God, you need to be a Hallmark movie. I mean, you really are.
I know.
Seriously. You guys are Hallmark hot.
Yep.
Look, it's a forever family fostering change one child at a time, and there's so much more we didn't even get to talk about today.
Gosh, yes.
You and Reese adopted 4 children.
All 4 of those beautiful kids.
You cover everything, and you talk about too. Your kids are black. You are 2 gay white men.
They are.
They are. But you talk about that dynamic, right?
Yes.
In the book, everything,
Yes.
right? Because you've heard it all, criticism and...
We used to have to carry our adoption papers in our pocket because we have a son who's special needs and he would have meltdowns in the store. And I'll never forget the time I had to pick him up. It's in this book. I had to pick him up and carry him out of the store. He was having such a meltdown and people were following us like we were kidnapping him. And we were like, this is our son. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Isn't that wild, like how life is, right? Like in the 70s, like you showed up on someone's doorstep. No one thought to think, come on in. Now you can't even be in the grocery store and like pick your kid up and evere's like filming you and, sir, where are you going?
Where are you going with that black kid? You are a white man. You should not be touching that black. It's crazy to me, and then what people say. I think we've said this to before. People. First of all, you got to keep your mouth shut when people got to come up to me and ask me, what did I do when my daughter started her period? What do you mean, what did I do?
Really?
I said to her, you cannot have that. You can't have that. You have 2 dads. She probably would have been, thank God. But,
If only it worked that way.
I know. But people ask that question.
Really?
They ask that question. They come up to us and they'll say, are they adopted? I'm like, and my son Grayson will say, no, we're not. We're not adopted. I'll say, Grayson, you can't lie like that. He's like, that's a dumb question. We're 4 black kids or 2 white guys. And I look at my 11-year-old. I'm like, God, you're so right.
Do you feel like people are curious though, and they don't really?
It's okay to be curious.
They don't really know anymore.
No, I think it's
okay.
You think
people
to be curious.
Nosy?
I just think people are nosy, and I think that they need to figure out how to deliver the question a lot better than they do. And I'm okay with questions. I just, I tell people all the time, the dumb question is the question you didn't ask, but it's all in how you deliver that question.
Right.
Where
can people buy the book?
Everywhere.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble, every bookstore that's out there, our book is there.
You have to keep us posted. You are so inspiring. Please go and buy the book. We love supporting you. And Comfort Cases is the organization you started.
ComfortCases.org. By the way, we've given out 42,000 cases in 5 years in 40 states. We've also given cases in D.C. and Puerto Rico. And must I remind our listeners, Puerto Rico belongs to us, even though it's surrounded by water. So is Hawaii. It's part of us. And we give these cases out. And by the way, we still have no corporate sponsors.
Really?
How is that possible?
This has all been done by communities.
That's
communities
amazing.
all over the world. So your community is not your zip code. It's our human race. And so we've been able to do this all through our community help.
And Comfort Cases is literally a backpack, a suitcase for every single kid in foster care. That's the goal anyway.
That's the goal.
Every kid on the border who is separated from their family, that they have a toothbrush, that they have a brush, a blanket, something comforting. And where can people donate to Comfort Case?
Go to comfortcases.org. We're a 501c3. We're a 95% volunteer-ran charity. So we're the only ones left that are that, we have no overhead. That's why I'm pushing this book. And so, if you buy this book, part of the book proceeds actually go to the charity as well to help, support it. So, enjoy the book. It's a time of year that people need to give. Buy more than one copy, okay? Buy more than one copy.
You're so inspiring. I love what you stand for. I love that, there's one life to live and you're like, take ownership of it.
I used to love that soap opera too, by the way.
One life to live? Oh my God, I know, right? I used to love it.
It came on right after All My Children.
But you are so, there's just no bullshit with you. There's no excuse. There's no woe is me. It's like, this is my story. This is what happened. I own it. I'm moving forward. And what a life. I mean, what a life you have created and that you give to others. Oh, and your kids are so lucky to have you guys.
Real quick, I have to say, I met you. I followed you forever, but I met you at a TED Talk. And if you remember, and guess what? At the end of this month, I'm going back to do the TED Talk.
Are you really?
Yes, after meeting you. I will never forget that you walked up and I was so...
Yeah, I hosted the TED Talk Tysons.
Were sweating because I knew who you were. I mean, you're my celebrity. You're my girl. As I said on my post, you're my go-to girl. You are my go-to girl. And so I tell people all the time, listen to you, support you. I love the fact that you're like me. You don't give a shit what people say.
I don't.
You just want people to be genuine.
Be real. And, people make mistakes and people are curious. And I think we need to have conversations and own things. And, we're always unfolding and changing and nobody's got it really all figured out, Right. I mean, but you have to be real with people and be authentic. And, it just over the years, it drives me nuts when I meet people who are one way on air or TV and then somewhere else. It's always like, that's always been mind-boggling to me. It's like, why would you live two lives?
That's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard enough to live your own life. How do you fucking have to live two lives?
And the real one is way more exciting than fiction.
It's fun.
Stay right here, Rob.
Okay.
We end the show on Wednesdays with something called 4 Things That Are Poppin', and it's all things in pop culture, so you can feel welcome to jump in, okay? Ariana Grande, the singer, your kids probably love her. She admits that the high ponytail that she wears on her head has her in constant pain. This is after Camila Cabello wore a high ponytail, but then ended up taking it out because she said it was so painful. She tweeted at Ariana Grande, how do you do it? This is the most painful thing. And Ariana Grande said basically, yeah, I'm in total pain all the time, but don't care.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some crazy shit right now. So that second person who you mentioned, who I don't know
Camila
who she
Cabello?
is. Yeah, that girl right there. I was in New York last week meeting with my agent, and she comes out of a building, and everybody's flashing cameras and paparazzis everywhere, and I'm standing there going, who the hell is this woman?
Who the hell is this?
So she gets into this SUV in this long. By the way, she wore a lot of makeup. She got in this SUV.
But it's all about.
She didn't have a ponytail either. She didn't have a ponytail. And I call my kids, and I'm like, some girl. And so I asked them. I said, "Excuse me, who was that?" And they said that girl's name. My kids were screaming. You didn't get a picture of her. But anyway, a ponytail's high. Hey, I don't know. I love ponytails.
I do too, but they are painful. I always say, women know this. Like bras, Spanx, ponytails, they hurt like fuck.
Like, I think bras should be outlawed. I think that's the most stupidest
It depends on
thing.
how big your boobs are.
You know what? The fact is, I think bras are just. I think that they're killers. They're killers.
They're really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
they are the worst.
Yeah. We should make men walk around with jock straps all the time
to
with
realize how
underwire. With underwire.
They are.
Yeah. And then say, okay, now if you can do this, now let me know.
All right, we got to move on to this story. Kylie Jenner was left was it 1 million or 5,000 roses? I can't remember. Sorry.
I'm going to say 1 million just to be more shocking.
Okay. Kylie Jenner was left in her home. Look at this. How amazing is this? Travis Scott is the father to her baby and her longtime boyfriend now too. And he decked out her entire home in roses. I believe there was 1 million. Now, has Reese ever done anything like this for you?
Hell no. He does my laundry. He does my laundry, but no. First of all, I would not allow that kind of waste. I'm sorry.
That's what I said. I said that's a lot of flowers. What is she going to do with all those?
That's waste. I mean, just seriously. First of all, do you realize how much cleanup is going to have to be done?
And she's not going to do a damn thing. This is literally just for Instagram.
Yeah, well, that's a waste.
This is insane.
Hey, there's 438,000 kids in the foster care system. We could have spent that money and helped them out. This is crazy.
I know. And she says, what a hell of a way to end the night. And then ended up doing a video showing everybody all of the roses that Travis Scott had left her.
First of all, the house smells good. Okay, I'm going to tell you.
The
house probably smells amazing. But I also think that these type of people are so, why do you have to tell everybody how much you have?
All the
Be
time.
a little humble. You know, be a little humble. You know, she could have had cans of Campbell's soup on the stairs and would have been more impressive than all that. So,
sexiest man alive, Idris Elba.
Did you just see that
been
picture? Yes, Are you going to show a picture?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. People, by the way, are loving this. Last year was
Love
Blake
it.
Shelton, and people were very upset about Blake Shelton.
I was too.
know.
But I saw this just yesterday and said to my husband, I was like, first of all, a man of color to finally, I don't remember. I mean, Denzel, I think it was Denzel was one years and years ago, but it's been many, many years. I think he's absolutely adorable.
Oh my God,
I think
so
he's so hot.
sexy.
And I guarantee you that he's probably a really nice person. And to me, I think
You
that's
think?
the key.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he
That's
is.
so awful.
think
I
he's
thought
a
you were
nice
going to say
person.
something else.
Something
No.
like he's a really shitty person. Yeah.
No, I think he's a really nice person. You could just tell in his photo shoot that I think he's a really nice
So
person.
handsome, right? I like
I mean, I
this
do
too.
think there's a lot hotter guys out there than him. You know,
Who would be your sexiest man alive? Like, who do you think?
this is so on the spot. Of course, everybody wants me to say my husband, but that's bullshit.
nobody- no, say whatever you want.
Anderson Cooper.
Really?
Yes.
Anderson
I
over
love that.
Idris Elba.
Yeah.
See, I would say Michael B. Jordan, the actor, is
I
way
like that.
hotter
I like
than
that
Idris Elba.
Aquaman guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh
I'm
my
a
God.
tattoo.
mine.
I'm a tattoo guy. There's nothing better than tattoos. And what's his name?
What's his name?
Jason Matuo.
Okay,
Jason
yeah.
Mat-
Yeah, there's nothing like a man bun and
Mateo.
tattoos. You know, so.
Oh, yeah, he is super hot. Lastly, people are very upset about TLC's Mama Medium, which debuted this week. They're saying it's disgustingly exploitative and that Mama Medium really doesn't have any sort of psychic powers. Have you seen this show on TLC? It's a reality show. They're calling it one of the cesspool of all cesspools, where she sometimes meets with people in a hospital bed who can't even speak, and then she communicates to their loved ones who are desperate to know if their loved one, who is like comatose in bed, is in pain. This is like a little much.
Well, first of all,
I will
you
do
got to.
absolutely everything I can to say everything that he would love to share. So Jason,
That makes
Isn't
me
this
sick.
terrible?
Makes me
They
sick.
put this on a TV show, and then Mama Medium goes in and apparently reads their vibes. She says that she's an empath, a psychic, a medium, and can talk to the dead. People are very upset about this, but a lot of people are defending her. She's from Long Island. Seems like all the psychics live in Long Island, right? I mean,
Yeah, isn't
Long
that,
Island.
Hey,
What
happened
is it
to that
about Long
Chloe
Island?
woman? Wasn't there a Chloe woman who went to jail who was a psychic? Remember?
She used to have all the commercials.
Yeah.
I don't
She was
know if
African
went to-
American. Yeah, she went to jail. How did she not know she wasn't going to jail if she was a psychic? She did go to jail.
That happens all the time because they scam people.
Yeah, and I think this woman is a scammer.
Well, people are very upset. As I said, it's been a polarizing argument online as if TLC should keep the Mama Medium. Mostly people are saying because she seems to go to very sick people and then tries to tell their loved ones like, oh, they really love you beyond measure. And people are like, you're exploiting these people in a hospital bed.
And nobody can really tell if it's the truth
And
or
no
not,
one
and
knows.
there's no way to know.
But you got to, but at the end of the day, people are watching it. People are
Right.
watching it. It's like those on TLC, they had those. Remember that family that started with a D or a B or something?
The Duggar family that had like 20-something
and
kids.
someone was beating someone or having.
Yes.
And they continued with that show. I mean, they don't, people watch it. Again, we say this about the election. You're always going to have the crazies.
They're apparently tuning in. They're apparently tuning in.
You got to have the crazies.
People are saying Miss Cleo is dead. Miss Cleo.
She's
That's who you're talking about.
dead.
Miss Cleo
Yeah,
died.
she
But she
died.
used to run the commercials that she wanted you to call for her
Yeah.
psychic. I no longer believe in psychics. I used to be big into this.
Really?
But I went to a psychic and she was actually at Channel 5 and she came over and she was like, I have to give you a reading. Like, I'm getting all these vibes from you. Like, you're moving to LA. There's a really tall building. She gave me all these specifics, like all this stuff. She's like, you've got to watch your heart at the age of 44, like all this in detailed stuff. And she's like, call me, I'll tell you the rest. So I was like, okay, I'm totally sucked in, right? So call her, they're like, what's your credit card? They're like charging that before the phone call's over. And then she goes, yes, there's something going on with your feet. And I said, really? The last time I saw you, you said my heart. And then she like paused. No, it's really something to do with your feet. I'm like, bitch, you are so fake. And then she
I
was
would have
like,
called that credit card company and said,
go,
reverse those
I
damn
go-
charges.
I go, oh, am I moving to LA? LA. It's
Not
up in
getting
the
that
air.
again.
Like, what? I'm like, you're a scammer. there. That was it. I was done.
Totally
That is
done.
the last psychic I will spend any money on. I'm like, they're full of shit. Anyhow. Rob Scheer, the book, again, is a forever family fostering change one child at a time. You are so inspiring. We love you to death. Safe travels. Buy the book. Support Comfort Cases. They're an incredible local organization. I mean, they're nationwide, but we love them that they're locally based here. Bye, everybody. Love you.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's sign a book.
Yes.
Cheers.
Podcast Pod.